abusua mi cha na mi san so emo akwa ba emre channel so abusua for hada so e be media je abusua be so wa se ene de kwani twa channel so abusua be so subscribe be like na abusua wa bo aso asha for pension be ati no anya bi ati ene ewo eye parliament abusua enye easy ayade a honorable eye Haruna Idrosu eye education minister abusua osoro ye den nsem bi edetu dwa na nsem na detu dwa no abusua owie no na ayade a eye honorable eko Assafuah abusua osoro ye na abusua we dey ma mekasa wan pese ekone ekoti ne koso ewo eye parliament ani na efa eye educational research eye from eye kindergarten to eye higher level abusua yentie mu nsem ankasem na sesia ha eda so aye be media je abusua be so ase ene de di connect channel so abusua be so subscribe be like na wa bo aso ahye dwumadi na se wa recommend your channel na ma for pension be etie no anya bi ati abusua ma refuse about notification bell no so for more podcast update yentie ne course e we
they agree to that so that when they are moving the motion they just amend it to adopt the report of the committee. Yes, so minority from bench, they want us to take the order paper addendum motion numbered 1.
Speaker, we are aligned. We are aligned.
So we may start with that motion 1, and that is the Minister for Education.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this Honorable House adopts the report of the committee and approve the sum of 39,233,795,022 for the services of the Ministry of Education for the year ending 31st December 2026. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, to highlight that Ghana's educational system needs a reset, and a reset by way of investment in structures and in standards from kindergarten through primary school, through secondary education to higher education. Mr. Speaker, of this amount, a chunk of it is dedicated to compensation, because rightly and justifiably so, the Ghana Education Service has the largest workforce in Ghana. But Mr. Speaker, government is determined to reset basic education and to increase investment in foundational learning. We currently are reviewing curriculum at that level to incorporate the teaching of ethics, and more importantly, even this morning, the President launched a STEM initiative where we are emphasizing investment on science, mathematics, and engineering education to support young people to develop critical minds and also be ready for problem solving. Mr. Speaker, Parliament is approving this budget at a time that the country is going through a very worrying development, with a significant number of Ghanaian students not faring well or not doing well in the West African certificate examination. Mr. Speaker, on this matter, I have requested for the examiner's report for a thorough study and analysis, and as and when it's appropriate, I'll come and brief this House as to what account for those. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the House approve 39,233,795,022 for the services of the Ministry of Education. I beg to move.
Honorable members, we are dealing with our rules of procedure. I realize that what I introduced is accepted, but the wording is not yet refined. And so in such a situation where we are adopting the report of the committee, it has to be moved by the chair of the committee, and then the minister will come in. Because it wasn't put on the order paper, the minister has moved it, and it says, if I may read it to your hearing, that this Honorable House adopts the report of the Committee on Education on the allocation of the sum, and then the sum is captured on the order paper, for the services of the Ministry of Education for the year ending 31st December 2026. And so you insert after Honorable House adopts the report of the Committee on Education on the allocation of, then you continue, the sum of so and so. That will be the motion, and that is how all the rest will have to be recouched. And the chairman of the committees or a member by our rules could do so on behalf of the chairman, and then the ministers will then come in and also contribute like other members. Yes, Minority Chief.
We are grateful for your guidance. I think then consequentially it must apply because I recall all the earlier actions we've taken. It has variance with your
So I'll give the directive.
Yes.
After we have adopted this, then I will direct that it should have a consequential effect on all the motions that have been adopted by the House, so that we can have space to properly debate the appropriation bill, because you recall that it was a statement, and what you did, we said you were making comments. So you actually did not get time to debate, even though there was much difficulty between the comments and the debate. You know, we had a challenge with that. But in essence, what we said was that it was a statement and you were making comments. But you have to debate the policies and principles of the budget. And there are new policies that have been introduced, which have to be debated and approved by the House. And they are the executives who now go to implement what has been approved by the House. And so that is the way to go. But in the meantime, the Minister for Education has moved it. We'll adopt that, and then consequentially, the others will be moved by the chairman of the committee. So the chairman could now present the report, and will allow members to contribute. Yes. Honorable members, I proceed to put the question. We've had enough. We've had enough on education. Minister, if you have something to say.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank honorable members for the issues raised. But to assure my colleagues on the other side, I heard my honorable colleague talk about printing of textbooks. We are not as wasteful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are reviewing curriculum from kindergarten to junior high school. And therefore, it was not prudent to be paying to print books when you are reviewing curriculum. However, they get funds sufficiently even spent on a number of the textbooks. Mr. Speaker, we have not departed from the pledge we made in our manifesto to give out funding to CHAS, the Conference of Heads of Assessed Secondary Schools, and the GES to fund school feeding. So far, 1.1 billion was directly released to CHAS and the GES for the procurement of food. And students are enjoying better food than it was. In many instances, Mr. Speaker, you had to postpone reopening of schools because you had no food to supply to the secondary schools. That has not been the case under President Mahama. Mr. Speaker, whilst thanking members, Mr. Speaker, let me assure you that we are working to end double track system. A number of schools, including one secondary school, will be upgraded to Category A school. Mr. Speaker, we have received funding of $180 million from the World Bank to convert a number of Category C schools to B, 10 Category B schools to A, and expand infrastructure in a number of the Category A schools. With quality improvement, Mr. Speaker, we will be able to improve what they left behind. Mr. Speaker, I do not intend to make comments uninformed on the outcome of an examination, but to emphasize that strict invigilation, strict monitoring and supervision contributed to some discipline in the conduct of the WASSCE exams. But without prejudice to the West African Exam Council examiners report, I will not go further on this matter. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude by saying that Otumfuo Asantehene at the UST congregation reminded government about the teaching hospital at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. It's a pledge President Mahama will work in 2026 and make sure that it becomes functional into 2026. We will complete the teaching hospital, equip it with over $38 million and pay the outstanding $46 million owed the contractor to be able to complete the work. And as was observed by the Honorable Adam, Mr. Speaker, a number of public universities will be established in the course of the year. Bunsu, the University for Engineering and Agric, will take off. Our colleague is looking for a university in the Mampong area in Obuasi that is being reviewed. Jasikan, Damangu, and Damba will also benefit from higher institutions of learning. The President has dedicated 30 million of the award he got from China into the establishment of a science and technology university in Damangu. So once again, Mr. Speaker, let me assure our colleagues that even though the ministry directly did not get adequate funding, Free Senior High School was adequately funded from the GET fund. And then, Mr. Speaker, finally, my colleague Vincent, I've seen you misleading the public on sanitary pads. I personally shared the contract award letter with you because I'm a consummate, transparent person. You're still telling the public that sanitary pads was bought for 44 cedis. That is untrue today. That is untrue tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, we procured 12 million. And I personally walked to you. If you want to show your WhatsApp, I shared an award letter of 19 to 21 cedis as a unit price of a sanitary pad with you. Yet you will have that evidence and still go telling the public that they were procured at 44 cedis. I respected you when I shared that with you.
Minister, you mentioned his name.
Yes.
He's on his feet. Let's listen to him. Yes, please.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. I thought at this juncture I have been able to put these matters into proper perspective, especially because every document that I have referred to are his document. There hasn't been any document, not even a single document, that I have been able to, as it were, stated which document is not coming from the ministry. Every document that I have stated, every document that I have made reference to is from 2025 and 2026. Mr. Speaker, it is true that indeed in the 2025 budget, the Ministry of Education stated that they have supplied 6.6 million sanitary pads. These are numbers that are not coming from me. It is also true that in the 2026 budget, he stated that they are going to use 292 million to purchase the parts. This is also a document from him. It is not a document coming from me. And so the calculations that were made are calculations based on their own document. I have not conjured even a single document from anywhere. Mr. Speaker, it is also important for me to also state that no document has been shared from him to me. I have written an RTI. Mr. Speaker, I have written an RTI 3 months down the lane.
Honorable member, I gave you the opportunity.
Yes.
So when I'm drawing your attention, please listen.
Right.
You raise a point of order. The point of order was based on the fact that he mentioned your name. And he mentioned your name with respect to one item, which he said he sent to your WhatsApp. And so that was the reason why you raised the point of order. To respond to that, now you are re-arguing your case. All what you are saying, you have submitted before this House. And on the record, they are in the official report. But respond to the specific matter, he raised your name. That is all.
Right Honorable Speaker, it is indeed true that an assistant of his, when he called, that a letter was being sent to my phone. I checked the letter, and indeed, the amount that was on that letter that was sent to me was about 23 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, these are numbers that they themselves have already said here on the floor of Parliament.
You said 23 Ghana cedis.
Around 23 Ghana cedis for one sanitary pad. And I am also suggesting that these are figures I have already said, that even if it is 23 Ghana cedis, there is still an overspending. It is still a chobo activity, because when you go to the market and you are buying one sanitary pad, you will get it 15 Ghana cedis. And if you are buying 12.2 million sanitary pad, you are still saying that you are buying it for 12 point what? You are buying it for 23 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, that cannot be the case. So I have not changed any document to Australia from anywhere. Whatever he himself is saying is what I'm speaking to. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member, you just reminded me. I think due to my ignorance about the meaning of chobo, you got away with it the other day. After the session, I was educated by so many people that chobo is actually an unparliamentary word, because the meaning they told me had to do with dishonesty, corruption, and I didn't understand it at that time, and I permitted it. Your colleagues have confirmed it here. So are you saying they also are lying to me? Please, let's don't deceive people. Actually, I didn't understand that chobo meant such what you call by outstanding orders. You are imputing at that time improper motives, and so by outstanding orders, that is what? Unparliamentary. Okay, but I didn't understand it, so I allowed it. So I don't want you to continue to use it again, because it's an unparliamentary word. Minister, you may conclude.
Mr. Speaker, as I indicated, Get Fund, because it has been uncapped, have been able to perform the new responsibility of financing free senior high school, and they will complete work on the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. This year, 4.2 billion has been allocated for the fund to fund the free senior high school. And Mr. Speaker, we're also allocating, when the formula gets here, 100 million Ghana cedis to be dedicated to provide all learners with special needs free education under President Mahamad's research to expand access to inclusive quality education. I thank you, and I thank honorable members, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I put the question. Those in favor of the adoption of the report as captured on the order paper item 29, order paper addendum. Order paper addendum 1.
Motion challenge in the long term. Mr. Speaker, one sector among a few other sectors that should have been the priority of this government, but sadly having been jettisoned to the background, is education. If you appoint a very experienced minister as Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and you deny him the resources and the budgetary releases to be able to function, the result is what we are seeing. A woeful decline in education outcomes. Mr. Speaker, the House should turn with me to page 4 of the report. And to effect, Mr. Speaker, to crave your indulgence to effect a correction on the table 7.2, the third column should not be 2025 revised budget, but it should be released. So, okay, so as corrected. Out of the 31.7 billion cedis allocated to the Ministry of Education for the year 2025, rather in a very disappointing outturn, only 19.1 billion. Only 19.1 billion was released. Mr. Speaker, a total of 12 billion are in arrears. have not been released. How do you expect the education sector to function? It is ailing. It is dysfunctional. With 12 billion deficits, you only put the minister in a handicapped position. The Honorable Minister for Government Communication is indicating that his constituency alone has benefited from 600 desks, just one man. He went and distributed that. Instead of releasing the money to the Minister of Education to ensure equitable distribution of furniture, of education material, you hold back the releases and individuals. 600 desks to one constituency. Ask the backbench, Adam Agbana, ask the rest of the backbench. How many desks were they able to send to their schools? None. Mr. Speaker, when you look at the declining nature of education outcome, it must be a worry. In the year 2015, only 2% of our peoples in this country, only 2% of peoples at P2 could read by the EGRA assessment. We managed to invest heavily into the education sector from all levels, particularly foundational level. We took it to minimum 38% by 2023. Do we want to go back to the era where only 2% peoples were reading? On WASI outcomes, Mr. Speaker, when we talk about the quality of education, we have world-class indicators, undisputed, that we use to measure education outcomes, to know how well our education is doing. When we have bequeathed to you a WASI pass rate of English, commerce, integrated science, and social science, just as recent as 2023, 73.11% of our people, of our WASI candidates passing English, integrated science, 66.82%, mathematics, 62.3%, social studies, 76.7%, pass A1 to C6. Under your watch, you have taken mathematics to 48.873%. Mr. Speaker, the dangerous thing about this resource is that more than half of our children who sat WASI will be denied opportunity to enter any tertiary institution. More than half. Over 52% of our learners will have to sit home. Their parents will have to pay several thousands of cedis for research because you are not releasing money to the Ministry of Education to undertake. You promise, you are talking about feeding. You promise headmasters that if they vote for you, you will send money directly to them so that they feed the students. You even promised, President Mahama promised that so that they will go and buy aponchin and do aponchin kakra for our students, only for them to come to power. They released for just a few months, and the releases stopped. And then they reverted to buffer stock for some time. Now, as we speak, another directive went that because the suppliers of buffer stock are old in arrears, the government can no longer go to them to supply food. So the headmasters should now go and face suppliers and credit more food so that our students can have something to eat. Mr. Speaker, I have taken the pain to visit some of the schools, and if you see the kind of food our students are eating, it is terrible. Why? Because they are refusing to release 12 billion cedis to the minister. How do you expect Honorable Haruna Idrisu to maintain decent feeding system when 12 billion is in arrears? Mr. Speaker, on double track, they promised that when they come into power, immediately they will end double track. The moment they got into power, they said, we are deferring to 3 years. Honorable Kwachi Fosu should tell us which additional space they have created in our secondary schools. He was talking about overcrowding. He should point to us even a single additional space they have created within this period. Release money to the minister. 12 billion in arrears, Mr. Speaker, is unacceptable. I do not think that the Speaker himself will be excited about this. Mr. Speaker is a heavy continental advocate for education. He will not countenance 12 billion in arrears. It is an ailing sector. Mr. Speaker, you need resources to drive outcomes. Now, if we take out Gallup, Gallup, that is a donor-funded program transforming over 10,000 least performing schools. If you take that intervention out, what is left of our education sector? Commitment from the government. So we are urging that the 39 billion cedis that is allocated in this budget, whilst we even think that it is inadequate, we are urging this government that the best course of action is to ensure 100% release to the minister to ensure that we have commensurate outcomes. A few years ago, our students from Memphis Girls and Prempeh could go to the United States of America and compete in robotics and STEM and become first, beating their compatriots from Singapore, Australia, and Canada. Today, what is the story? All the STEM schools that were under construction, the 11 that were able to commission, the rest that are left are still as it is. What we see is relaunch upon relaunch. And the sad thing is that after the minister has most enthusiastically relaunched certain programs, the funding that must go with it is locked up in the bosom of Honorable Ampim and his boss. Mr. Speaker, let the finance ministry release. Education it must not be locked up at finance ministry. It must be released to the education ministry. I know the competence of Honorable Haruna Idrisu. It is never in doubt. Even at the age of 39, we know the one that seated at Ministry of Communication. But why is the education sector ailing now? Because 12 billion cedis is in arrears. But once we look at the finances, we must also turn our attention to the relevance of our education system. When we talk about having a serious look at the various factors that are accounting for this, we were expecting a very patriotic approach. But what we see is government machinery released. And all we hear is because, and a blame game given to the teachers. That teachers cheated in the past. Teachers abetted WASI candidates in the past. And that is the reason why we have stellar performances of our children. That is most regrettable. That is most regrettable. The same teachers we have 3 years ago are the same teachers. And we must put on record that the biggest partners of our education success story has been our teachers. They supported the creditable implementation of free SHS. They ensure the holistic development of every child that passes through our public education system. So if today you are even failing to release their allowances to them, and you are deferring, this will be the first year that teachers' allowances are being deferred. So if you are refusing to pay our teachers, do not blame this rather appalling performance on the teacher. If the teacher is supported, he will deliver instruction. If the students are also supported and prepared adequately, they will face the examination with confidence. And they will get back to the days when the topmost 3 people who became the topmost performers in the whole of West Africa, beating Nigeria, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Liberia, were Ghanaians. Today, only 48% of them are passing mathematics. Could it be that they are putting a natural ceiling to how many people must access their no stress fee? Yes. So that if they restrict the number of people who will be able to pass to go to tertiary, then they will have space enough to cater for them. If that is not the case, your data of financial performance does not support it. Because if your history is 12 billion in arrears, then anybody will easily believe. I might doubt, but everybody will easily believe that you want more of our students to fail, so that less will make it to the tertiary, so that your burden of your own promise, no stress fee, will be abysmal. Mr. Speaker, we want to indicate we are ever ready to support them to get back our ailing education sector outcomes back on track. We are ready to support. Ghana is all we have. Our students are brilliant. Our teachers are dedicated. Our minister is competent. The only thing left is the budgetary releases. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Yes, please.
Dedi kama mamena pendulum TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Ah nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases. Pendulum TV.